Okay guys, today we are on page 12 of your chapter 7 note packet. The final section that we have to get to, it's called the triangle proportionality theorem. So go ahead and pause the video and fill in these blanks accordingly. But what this theorem is it's if a line is parallel to one side of the triangle, so that line that's parallel here is DE is parallel to the side of a triangle. The side of the triangle is AC. What that does is it intersects the other two sides and it divides those sides into segments of proportional lengths. So it's dividing BD and DA, those are two of them, and then BE. So those blue and pink are going to be in proportional lengths. So what happens is it's saying that BD over DA, so that proportion of the blue side, that ratio, if I set that up, that fraction is going to be equal to the fraction on the pink side of BE over EC. And that order could flip. I could start with AD over DB and then EC over EB, as long as we're staying like the smallest with the smallest and the largest with the largest as far as that order goes. So let's look at number 3. And if we look at number 3, we have to do something really fast before we can start, because when we're looking, we want to use this x and this 36, but then we need to use something we don't have in this 45. But we can find that something we don't have, because I know the whole thing is 55, and I know the 45, that's going to get me my 10, which is the part I need right there. So setting it up, I like to go the smallest one, so x is smallest of the 36, so it's going with 10 because that's smallest of the 45. It's setting us up to cross multiply. And then dividing, so that's going to get us 8. So make sure you find that missing length if you need to, and go ahead and pause the video and try number 4 on your own. Okay, you should have typed in for number 4, so let's look at number 5. So again, if we're looking one side of the triangle, we have our 30 and our x plus 7. The other side, we have our 25 and our 15. So setting those up accordingly, I'm going to put together my 30 over x plus 7. Since I started with 30, I need to start with my 25 over 15. I'm cross multiplying there. And look at that, we have a binomial, so you could put parentheses around it if that helps you remember that you are distributing to it. So solving, moving my 175 over, and then dividing by my 25, get 11. So go ahead and pause that video and do number 6 on your own. Okay, you should have typed in your answer. Let's look on the next page, so page 13. Here, I'm working with my converse, which is just switching the order of what we're starting with. So we are starting with the fact that we think that they're proportional, and we need to see if they are or aren't to prove if it's parallel. So I want to run my proportions. If they work, my lines are parallel. If they don't work, my lines are not parallel. So if I'm looking on number 9, I have my 2 that I compare together. I have my 30, my 37.5. I have my 24 and an amount I need to find. We can find that amount. Remember, we can take what we know and subtract, and that's going to get me 30. So I now know this piece is 30. And we can set up our proportions accordingly. So I want to compare my 30 over 37.5, and I'm comparing that to my 24 over 30. We're not cross-multiplying and dividing because I don't have an equal sign that I need to solve for. I just need to make sure that these fractions get me the same decimal. So if I do 30 divided by 37.5, that gets me 0.8, which becomes a fraction, so I can change that to 4 over 5. And if I reduce 24 over 30, those both share a 6. 24 divided by 6 is 4. 30 divided by 6 is 5. So since these guys match, my sides are proportional, so yes, we are parallel, which is what they were actually asking for. So these two sides are parallel. Go ahead and try number 7 and number 8 on your own, and then type in if they're parallel or not when it prompts you to. All right, last theorem, or not really theorem, but last thing. Proportional parts and parallel lines. If 3 or more parallel lines intersect 2 transversals, then they cut off the transversals proportionally. So I have 3 parallel lines, AB, CD, and EF. They are cutting transversal AE and transversal BF. So what that does is, and again, here's my parallel lines. I have my 2 transversals. It's cutting them proportionally. So AC is going to be proportional to CE, and then BD to DF. Those are the ones I'm comparing. I can set up my ratio and then therefore set up my proportion and go from there. Okay, so let's look at number 12. So on number 12, I see my parallel lines and I have 2 transversals. So that's setting me up for my proportional parts. I'd have my 27 and my x because they're on the same transversal, and then I'd have my 18 and something I need to find. But we've done this enough. We can just subtract the whole part and then the part we know, and that is going to get us 14 here. So setting it up in whichever order you want. So just from scanning it, I see the 27 first, so I'm putting that over my x. And since I put 27 first, I need to put my 18 over my 14 because my 27 and 18 are the ones that are across from each other. If we cross multiply there, and then divide by my 18, get 21 for x. So go ahead and solve this, or pause this video and solve 13 on your own. All right, you should have typed in your answer. Let's look at 14. So I have my 2 sides, or 2 transversals getting cut, my 24 and my 18. And then I have my 3x plus 1 and my 12. So I see 24 over 18. That means I need to put my 3x plus 1 because it's across from my 24, putting parentheses because that's a binomial, over my 12, cross multiplying. Make sure we keep those parentheses because we're going to have to distribute that 18 into both terms. Minus our 18 over. And then dividing by 54, we should get 5. All right, go ahead and pause the video and try number 15 on your own. Make sure you type in your answer when you are prompted. Alright guys, sorry, you probably caught me, but this is actually, if I come back here, 288. I just looked ahead in my notes. So 288 minus my 18 gets me the 270. So I need to fix that. Sorry guys. I just don't want to have to re-record this whole thing. Then I get my 270, and then when I divide, I get my 5. So sorry if that threw you off there. Hopefully you can now pause the video and do 15 on your own. Type in that answer when it prompts you to, and make sure you bring any questions you have to our class meeting.